Have you ever looked at someone's life and wondered what road brought them here? I'm your host, and this is The Unexpected Detour, a place for honest conversations about the turns we never planned, the losses that reshaped us, the choices that tested us, and the strength we found along the way. Every guest brings a real story, not a perfect story, a human one, the kind that reminds you that resilience doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it sounds like getting up one more time, asking for help, starting over, or simply choosing hope when the path ahead is unclear. Every person has a story. Follow the unexpected detour and discover the conversations that remind us we're stronger than we know. Subscribe now, listen in, and take the next step with us.
Hello, I am back. For the past week, I've abstained from social media. And I have to tell you, my mind was given a much needed break. I really think now and then we should all step away from social media and get back to spending time doing some of the things we used to do. Constructive things, things that make us think, and things that allow us to enjoy our own company without constantly scrolling to see what everybody else is doing in the world. That week gave me time to think. And when I give myself time to think, that's usually when another conversation begins. So today, let's start with this conversation regarding life beyond cancer. Today, I want to talk about something that I don't believe we talk about enough when discussing survivorship, and that is sexuality and survivorship. And yes, we're going there because sexuality and intimacy can become very real issues after cancer diagnosis, and they can affect couples as well as those who are single. Think about the body and what it has endured. Depending upon your cancer and your treatment, your body has gone through surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, medications, hormonal changes, scars, weight changes, hair loss, fatigue, changes to the skin, pain, and changes you may have never been prepared for. And even as those who are still receiving some form of treatment, these changes can be happening right now. Survivorship doesn't necessarily mean that every treatment has ended. For some people, treatment continues while they are still trying to figure out how to live their lives. You can be grateful that your body carried you through cancer and still have complicated feelings about that same body. I think that's something we need to say out loud. Surviving doesn't automatically mean that you immediately feel comfortable with your body again. You may appreciate what your body has survived while also trying to understand the body you now have. And sexuality isn't just about having sex. It's about intimacy. It's about touch. It's about how you see yourself when you look in that mirror. It's about whether you still feel attractive and desirable. It's about feeling comfortable enough to allow, to allow someone else to see and touch a body that may look or feel different from the body you had before. For couples, that can create conversations neither person was prepared to have. Your partner may love you just as deeply as they did before cancer, but you may not feel the same about yourself. Maybe you don't want to be touched in certain places. Maybe something that felt good doesn't anymore. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe your desire has changed. Or you're just looking at those scars while your partner is simply looking at the person they love. We also have to remember that the partner may not know what to do either. They might be afraid of hurting you. They might be hesitant to be intimate with you because they're not sure if you're ready. And while you're waiting, they're waiting to figure this out. And when neither person talks about what's happening, that silence can slowly create distance between two people who still very much love one another. Cancer treatment itself can also affect sexual health. Hormonal changes can affect the desire. Some treatments can cause vaginal dryness or make intercourse uncomfortable or painful for the women, and men can experience erectile difficulties. Treatment can affect fertility. Fatigue alone can make intimacy feel like one more thing your body simply doesn't have the energy for. And sometimes there may be a physical explanation for what you're experiencing, which is why these are conversations we should be able to have with our healthcare providers without embarrassment. But I also want to talk about the single survivor, because sometimes when we talk about sexuality after cancer, the conversation automatically assumes there is a husband, wife, or partner waiting at home. But what about the single person? What about dating after cancer? When do you tell that someone that you had cancer? Do you tell them immediately? What happens when a relationship becomes intimate and now you're wondering, how is this person going to respond when they see these scars or the changes cancer has made to my body or to your body? Those questions can become very personal. Will they still find me attractive? Will they still look at me differently? Will they still see me, or will they see cancer? And underneath those questions may be a bigger one. Do I see myself as desirable? That's the big question. I think sometimes we spend so much time talking about keeping survivors alive that we forgot survivors also want to live. We want companionship, affection, and intimacy. We want relationships. We want to laugh, flirt, date, fall in love, feel comfortable in our bodies. We want to experience all the things that make us human. Cancer doesn't take away our need to love or our desire to be loved. And maybe part of life after cancer is becoming acquainted with our bodies again. Not constantly comparing ourselves to the person we were before cancer, but learning to appreciate and understand the person we are now. That doesn't mean we have to love every scar or every change. It doesn't mean there won't be days when we struggle with what we see in the mirror. It simply means giving ourselves permission to take the time we need. There shouldn't be shame attached to that. There shouldn't be a timetable. You don't have to become comfortable with intimacy because somebody thinks enough time has passed. You don't have to pretend something doesn't hurt because you're afraid of disappointing your partner. And you shouldn't have to quietly live with physical changes because you're embarrassed to bring them up with your doctor. Maybe that's another part of survivorship we need to become more comfortable talking about. We have conversations about the scans, medications, the blood works, the side effects, reoccurrence, nutrition, exercise, and follow-up appointments. Those conversations are seriously important, but so are the conversations about intimacy, sexuality, relationship, body image, and learning how to feel comfortable in our own skin again. Because surviving cancer is about more than staying alive. It's about figuring how we want to live. So if you're listening today and you struggle with intimacy, sexuality, dating, your relationship, or simply feeling comfortable in your body after cancer, please know that you're not the only one having these thoughts. Maybe we just haven't been talking about them enough. That's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation. Because this too is survivorship. This too is a part of our new normal. And this too belongs in the conversation about life beyond cancer. Before I go, I'd like to hear from you. Has cancer changed the way you see yourself, your relationships, or your experience with intimacy? If you're comfortable sharing, leave a comment below. Your story may encourage someone who has been carrying these feelings in silence. If today's conversation resonated with you, please share this episode with another survivor, a caregiver, a spouse, a partner, or someone who loves a person living with or beyond cancer. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is letting them know they are not alone. Be sure to follow The Unexpected Detour on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode of Life Beyond Cancer. New conversations are released regularly as we continue exploring the realities of survivorship and honesty, compassion, and hope. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Healing isn't measured only by your treatments you've completed. It's also found in grace you give yourself as you continue learning to live, love, and embrace the person you've become. And if you are on YouTube, please follow the YouTube channel, The Unexpected Detour 17. And there, you won't miss anything, and you might be able to catch up with things you've missed already. I am your host, Francis. This has been The Unexpected Detour, where we say where life detours are inevitable.